What's up, guys? It's Sunday. I had overtime yesterday, so I drove the car to work. It drove fabulous all the way there. And about 2 miles from home, my volts went from 14 to 12, and my temperature started to rise. Up con, pulling over to the ditch and stuff, I took the hood off, and I don't know if you guys know this, but your tensioner is supposed to be 2 pieces. So, yeah, that happened. Destroyed the belt. Whole spring is seized up. I was just normal driving it. I didn't get on it hard or anything. I didn't want to yet because I wanted to make sure the fuel system was not going to leak. And it just, bop, it snapped. The hood was on the car, which is good because it landed on the other side in the engine bay, so I didn't even have to dig for it. It was laying on the alternator, but you could tell it bounced. It hit up here, smacked the center of my hood, which it didn't penetrate, but it definitely hit it, and then bounced over to the other side. My dad helped me, kind of limped it home, cooled it off. We were on 2 miles, let it cool off, turned it on, ran it a mile, killed it, got it here at like 240 was the temp. A little high, but drove it today. Everything drove great. Temperature was good. Drove it hard today under boost. No spraying out of the heads or anything, so I think we're good on it. But here's my new tensioner. Bought a new tensioner, new belt, and this one kind of looks a little bit beefier. I don't know if that's like pot metal like the other one was. It doesn't feel like it was, so I'm hoping it didn't just. I'm hoping it's a legit good piece. But I've never had a tensioner in all my LSs that I've messed with. I've had to replace tensioners, but I've never had one snap like that. Like, literally, like, snapped off. And it's under normal load, too. But, like, you can grab some pliers and twist this, but the spring doesn't return where it needs to be, like a tensioner should. And this thing was lava. I could put my hands on the manifolds, and they were colder than this piece. So something in here just got seized up somehow. I've never seen that before, but that's fixed. Not a big deal. We got it taken care of. Still got to do the wiring, of course. We're going to clean up all the wiring and everything. After I do the transmission mount and interior, I'm going to lay the harness and wrap the harness up. Still not ready to do that, though. I need some better shears, too, for that big wire, the breaker switch, all the other stuff. So until then, I'll have my little like baby toolbox in here with the AN wrench, some wire cutters, just to make sure everything. I've only driven it twice. I want to make sure everything's good. But we fixed that, so it wasn't a big deal. It is kind of annoying because it was like the tensioner was 15 days out of warranty from AutoZone, which is just fabulous, so I still had to buy a new one. But that was kind of didn't want to spend the money on that. But I also couldn't hook up my fuel gauge to the Terminator yet because it uses the CAN bus stuff. So I have to wait for my dash to come in to run the CAN therm resistor for the fuel sending unit. So I ordered a 0 to 90 ohm Chevy iEquus gauge, which is the same gauge as I had before, except for the other one I had before is for a Jeep, a Mopar, and they're different ohms. I'll find that paper. It's somewhere over there. But my tank fuel sending unit is a 0 to 90 ohm, which is a Chevy. So it was reading like all off, but now if I turn the key, I'm at a little under 3/4 of tank. I should have bent it a little bit, but I mean, you get the gist of it. I can shake the car back and forth. Doesn't really move, which is awesome. I like this sending unit. Got the lights to work on it, so if I turn my headlight on, you can barely see it, but it turns green again. So that's going to be there for now until I get the dash done and the aluminum. I got to do the whole front dash. I gotta get the interior. You know how it is. It's just one thing after another. And I'm not gonna get crazy with it because I'm starting that this year. This is gonna get done this year, or started. No ifs, ands, or buts. I'm gonna have this thing all over the place. So that was the issue. Everything's done great. Fuel system I'm super happy about. Once this one, if I ever have to pull the tank out again, it depends on how bad the little float thing is. I saw some cool fuel sending units that are a tube and they have like a ball inside, but they say if you run ethanol, sometimes that ball gets stuck. So I'm just gonna keep it with the normal arm. What's really interesting is the fuel sending unit in the Jeep tank, which is out here still. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, right over there on the ground. Its fuel sending unit, you know, it's basically, a fuel sending unit is basically like an arm in the gas tank with a float on the end of it that goes up and down with the gas. And there's a little resistor piece that kind of reads it and sends that electronical voltage, that ohm reading. The one in the Jeep was like at a diagonal. So this one in the fuel cell, we'll say this is the float, right? It sits in left to right. So when you floor it or gun it, it doesn't go down or up unless, you know, it's going down or up. Like it's not sloshing back and forth like this would. The Jeep one was at a crooked angle. So anytime you did any kind of acceleration decel, it was like my white Chevy truck, and the needle was just doing this until you got it nice and steady. So that was interesting. That's fixed now, which is cool, just from the way the position is for the new fuel sending unit is. Picked up dog food today. That's my 50-pound weight that I put in the back for traction. You know how it is. I still need to go weigh the car too. That'll probably be the next thing I do, is go get the car weighed. What else was I thinking? But yeah, I mean, besides, you know, having to cut the floor up down here, right there where the hump is, and re-welding and seam sealing it, I probably didn't have to do that, but for me doing that and tucking it up, look how that thing sits now, dude. It's way under the diff. Way under the diff. There's actually a guy with a Spirit who tracks his, and his was a little like 3 inches lower than mine, but he has like coil over rear end, 4-link and stuff, so he's not hitting bumps like a spring car would. That's another thing we got to do, is buy the Control Freak kit for the 4-link and stuff. And I'm probably going to redo the diff. I'm probably going to rebuild the pinion and the posi and all that in there, or send it to someone like a professional that can do that, because that's something I'm not comfortable with, like the lashing and stuff. I don't have the proper tools for an 8.8 as well. I could take it to someone who has the proper tools for an 8.8. And I think the guy that I talked to is like $200, and he's well known out here in Oklahoma for 8.8s. But yeah, man, like, damn, I think everything's about done. It's really, I'm gonna drive it for a couple of weeks. I'm gonna clean the garage. That's what I'm really gonna be doing, unless there's something issue, like a wire was loose or something, which there shouldn't be. I fixed everything fuel wise. I'm going to drive it for a few weeks, put it back in the air, check all my hose line bolts, make sure they're all tight. I do want to, right here under the car, I don't know if you can see, yeah, right there, this piece is kind of hanging under the cross member. I'm gonna run a clamp up here, so this gets tucked up here some more. But besides that, everything else is tight. Fuel sending, ethanol content gauge. I gotta run an ethanol content gauge thing right here through this line, and then the little flex fuel thing will be right here, so I'll have to pull this line out, cut it, and do it, and then have it mounted again. And I'm thinking about putting like an aluminum shield and mounting it up in here just to cover the fueling, trying to keep it cool. I don't think it gets hot. It doesn't feel warm, but you know, you never know. So we'll get it done, and then of course intake and injectors. That's the only thing I need before we take it to good old Bo and have him put moon juice tunes in it. But yeah, man, it's just the garage is a mess now. Here's that paper I was talking about. The Rhodes fuel cell. I had that Summit fuel cell, I'm definitely going to buy the Summit one for hers because it had an internal splash foam in there. Definitely going to run that in hers, cut the circle out, and run her pump and stuff through the top in the bed instead of under the car. But I'll keep the drain some. I think that was pretty cool how they had its own little baffle area too. It was pretty cool. But 0 empty, 90 ohms full. It's a GM gauge. Mine was 70 empty, 10 ohms full, which is Ford and Mopar. That's the one I had, and so obviously they were backwards. Not a big deal, but it's $24 for another gauge on Amazon from iEquus. And I've had no issues with these gauges at all. These are like plastic bezeled, I've noticed. So these have been great. I'm not complaining one bit, but now I have a Chevy one. So I bought the same one. Screw it. Yeah, I liked it. I need to also, speaking of fuel cell stuff, fuel sending stuff, Rashawn already has the Holly dash. So he has the CAN bus in the Holly dash. I need to run his fuel sending level unit from his tank to his dash because he ripped the whole dash out and bought the cluster, the 3D printed cluster. So like here's an example of like here's the dash and stuff for the S10. He pulled all that out and you put this template in to mount up your Holly dash. So he doesn't have his fuel gauge anymore. I want to fix that. But for now, that's pretty much it. The car is back into running order. It runs so much better too. It's crazy what a fuel pump will do. But oh man, I've noticed under boost it doesn't like. In the wintertime, it wasn't as bad. I noticed in the hot time, you got higher IATs, air is less dense, so you need more fuel. I noticed it was like it would hit boost for a little bit and then just kind of start falling on its face, but you would hear the turbo spooling. So it was like you were going fast, but you weren't going fast. I did notice that. And then I put this fuel regulator on, put a boost reference on it, and night and day difference. The only thing that's not showing right now is I don't have a gauge on here like Rashawn would have, a little pressure gauge. I ran it through the fuel rail right here. We have a pressure gauge tester that I borrowed from my father-in-law somewhere over there. But I'm gonna buy a sensor. I'm gonna buy a 90 and then a sensor, and I'll run the sensor to the Holly so the Holly knows my fuel pressure and not some gauge. I want it all as computerized as possible. So, but for now, I'm going to put these tools in my box in the back of the car for emergencies, because you never know. You never know. And then we'll go from there. There we go. I was like, the key wasn't turning. It got me scared. Got my little key on ignition switch. So everything came out fire. Here's my backup stuff. Don and Matt's doing good. I got to finish the back here. Got to obviously do the inside. Put the panels back on. I don't know how I'm going to do that yet. These are kind of like flaking. I don't think it's the actual piece. I think it's the paint. So I got to clean this up really good. I'm probably going to use that undercoating paint just because of how thick it is and how it hardens really well. I think that's going to be my best bet to keep it from flaking, because I have spray painted it before and I put something in the back of the trunk and it rubbed the tire well and it just scraped the paint off. So I was like, damn man, that sucks. So I'm going to get it done. Let's see. I need to find my 13 again, because that's my battery terminal, and it's also my tensioner in case my tensioner decides to blow up again. Still kind of irritating. But yeah, man, that's about it. I'm gonna put these tools up and try to plan something. I'm thinking about planning probably the transmission mount. I want to get it done, because as soon as I get that transmission mount done, I can cut this out right here, this little hole, weld the patch in, get this whole dynamat done and everything. And over there, I got to cut a little in the corner, do the dynamat on that, and then I can do the interior, put carpet in here. Get this seat, another seat in here as well. Forgot we went to Boomerang, so I got a Pepsi. Yeah, so that's it for now. It's a quick little 15, 16 minute update. I'll catch y'all on the next one. If you guys need questions on like the AMC guys on how I did this under my spirit, feel free to comment me or follow me on TikTok. It's Built by Belt, same thing as YouTube. I usually DM a lot on there. I'll kind of give you a walkthrough of how I did it. I really didn't use any measuring tools. I used some angle iron from the support to support, and then I put a 3-inch spacer pipe across to get my height. You guys could obviously go lower. I chose not to go lower. This is actually tucked in higher than the Jeep tank was, and I only lost 4 gallons. I was 21 gallons, this one's 17, so I can't complain. But that's it for this car, for this video, not for life, but I'll catch y'all in the next one. Whatever we do, I'm kind of all over the place. I don't know what I want to do. I have an itch to work on this truck, but I have to clean up the garage. So, and I got these couches I'm trying to get rid of too. I gotta get rid of those couches. So, it is what it is. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Y'all stay up to date, and got any questions, let me know. I'll try to help you as much as I can. I'm out.